Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought to yourself, when did I start looking like this? Maybe it's the lines around your eyes, the way your mouth rests a little differently, or how your shoulders seem to hunch more than they used to. Or maybe you've caught yourself mid-sentence and thought, wow, I sound old. That little voice in your head starts whispering doubts about how you look, how you feel, how the world sees you now. And let's be honest, it can be a little scary. You feel like something's changing, slowly but surely, and no one really warned you it would feel this way. It's not dramatic enough to call the doctor, but it's not small enough to ignore either. It just creeps in. A moment here, a thought there, and before you know it, you're questioning things that used to feel second nature. You're not imagining it. These changes are real. Some of them sneak up on you, like forgetting where you put your glasses, or feeling more tired after doing things that used to be easy. Others are more emotional, like suddenly feeling invisible in a room, or struggling to connect with people who once felt so close. And then there's the part no one talks about, the quiet embarrassment, the little fears you keep to yourself, the things that make you wonder, is this normal, or is something wrong with me? The truth is, millions of people your age are going through the same things. You just don't always see it, because so many of us are taught to smile through it, keep it to ourselves, and pretend everything's fine. But it's not weakness to notice these changes, it's awareness. And that awareness is the first step toward taking back control. But here's the truth. Just because aging brings changes doesn't mean you're powerless. In fact, the more you understand what's happening, the more control you actually have. There are certain habits, some of them small and easy to overlook, that quietly creep into our lives as we age. They don't just affect how we feel, they shape how we live. The good news is, once you can spot them, you can start doing something about them. And today, we're going to talk about 12 of those habits, not to judge or shame, but to shine a light on the things no one talks about, and show you how a few simple shifts can make all the difference. Let's start with something that's more common than people think, but rarely ever talked about: letting personal hygiene slip. Now, this doesn't mean someone's dirty or careless. It can be as subtle as skipping a shower because you're too tired, forgetting to trim your nails, or wearing the same clothes for a few days because it just feels like too much work to change. What used to be part of your daily routine starts to fade, little by little, and before long, you barely notice it's happening. This change can come from all kinds of places. Sometimes it's physical. Your joints ache, your balance feels off in the shower, or your energy just isn't what it used to be. Other times, it's emotional. Maybe you're feeling down, disconnected, or unmotivated, and the idea of getting up and going through the motions feels pointless. There's also the simple fact that the older we get, the easier it is to fall into routines that feel safe, even if they're not necessarily serving us anymore. But why does it matter so much? Well, personal hygiene isn't just about cleanliness, it's tied to dignity, confidence, and even overall health. Poor oral hygiene, for instance, is linked to heart problems. Not bathing regularly can lead to skin issues or infections. And when we don't feel fresh, it can affect how we interact with others, sometimes without even realizing it. You might find yourself avoiding social events or skipping doctor's appointments because you don't feel put together, and that can quickly snowball into deeper isolation. Here's the good news. You don't need a full spa day to turn this around. Start with just one small act of care a day. Maybe today it's washing your face with warm water and a soft cloth. Tomorrow it might be changing into a fresh shirt, even if you're not leaving the house. Keep items like grooming wipes or no-rinse shampoo nearby for days when a shower feels like too much. Lay your clothes out the night before, so it's one less decision in the morning. These tiny habits begin to stack up, and before long, you feel more awake, more present, more you. I knew a gentleman in his 70s, who used to joke that his fancy cologne was just soap and water, but after his wife passed, he slowly stopped caring about how he looked. It wasn't until his granddaughter lovingly called him a grumpy old bear, and handed him a fresh shirt, that he realized he'd lost touch with that part of himself. He started shaving again, even if he wasn't going anywhere, just because it made him feel good. And that little shift, It changed everything. He didn't need a makeover or a big speech, just a reason to remember that he still mattered. And that's really what this is about. Taking care of yourself isn't just about looking good for other people. It's a quiet, powerful way of reminding yourself that you're still here, you still have worth, and you still deserve to feel your best. When you take that first step, no matter how small, you're making a statement to your body, your mind, and the people around you that you haven't given up on yourself. And sometimes, that one clean shirt, that one face wash, that one comb through your hair can be the thing that shifts your mood from low and quiet to just a little brighter. So if you've noticed yourself slipping a bit, or if someone close to you gently mentions it, don't take it as criticism. Take it as a sign, a little nudge from life, saying it's time to care for yourself the way you always deserved. Start simple, make it easy. Keep a checklist if you have to. Something like, did I brush my teeth today? Did I wash my hands and face? Did I put on something clean? You'd be surprised how good that small sense of routine can feel, especially when the rest of life feels uncertain. And it's not about being perfect, it's about showing up for yourself in the ways that count. That's what real self-care looks like at this stage of life. Not expensive lotions or fancy grooming kits, but small, consistent acts of self-respect. Now let's talk about something that can slowly take over your relationships without you even realizing it. Always talking about what hurts. You know the kind of conversation, someone asks how you're doing, and before you know it, you're going down the list. Your knees, your back, the new medication, the side effects, the doctor visits. And of course you're not doing it to complain, you're sharing your reality. It's what's going on in your life. But when illness becomes the main topic, day after day, it starts to shape not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. This happens for a very human reason, connection. When we talk about pain, we're often looking for empathy, for someone to say, I get it, me too, and that's perfectly natural. But what we don't always notice is how much space it takes up in the conversation. When your world starts to revolve around what's wrong, it's easy to lose sight of everything else that's still right. And here's the thing, people may care deeply about you, but constant talk of illness can be heavy, even for your loved ones. Sometimes they don't know how to respond. They might pull away, not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to keep the conversation going without feeling sad or helpless. And slowly, unintentionally, those connections start to fade. You don't have to ignore what you're going through. That wouldn't be honest. But you can find balance. Start small. If someone asks how you're doing, share the truth, but then add one thing you're grateful for. My back's still sore today, but I did get outside for a little while, and the sun felt good on my face. It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be real. And if you find that health talk dominates your time with friends, gently shift the conversation. Ask them about something in their life. Tell a funny story from your past. Reminisce about an old song or movie. Bring in the light stuff. Not to ignore the hard things, but to remind yourself that you're more than just what hurts. I once knew a woman named Darlene, who had a dozen health issues stacked on top of each other. But she made it a rule. She'd give herself 2 minutes to talk about her body, and then she'd switch to something that made her laugh. She called it her sunny side shift, and people loved being around her, not because her life was easy, but because she refused to let her pain take over the whole room. You can do that too. It takes awareness, and a little practice, but balancing your words can brighten your relationships, lift your mood, and remind you, and everyone around you, that you're still full of life. Now let's talk about something that seems small, but has a massive ripple effect, your teeth. It's one of those areas we tend to ignore as we get older. Maybe it's because you're no longer going to work every day, or because dentures make brushing feel different, or maybe it just feels like a low priority compared to everything else going on in your body. But the truth is, letting your oral health slide can quietly impact everything from your heart to your brain. See, your mouth isn't just where you eat or speak, it's a gateway to your entire body. When you skip brushing or flossing, or you ignore that sensitive tooth, bacteria start to build up. And this isn't just about cavities. Those bacteria can travel. They can enter your bloodstream and create inflammation throughout your body. Researchers have found strong connections between gum disease and heart problems, especially in older adults. And more recently, studies are even pointing to links between poor oral health and memory decline. It sneaks up because the signs are subtle. Maybe your gums bleed a little when you brush. Maybe your mouth feels dry, but you figure it's just part of getting older. Over time, that dry mouth can increase plaque, wear down your enamel, and raise your risk of infections. But the good news is, this is one of the easiest things to turn around once you're aware of it. Start with a simple, consistent daily routine, morning and night, no matter what. Brush your teeth gently with a soft bristle brush, and if it's hard to grip, try an electric one with a wider handle. Flossing might seem like a chore, but it's one of the best things you can do to protect your heart and brain. And if flossing feels tricky, those little interdental brushes or floss picks can make it easier. If you struggle with dry mouth, try sugar-free gum or lozenges with xylitol. They stimulate saliva and help fight bacteria naturally. Keep a bottle of water nearby throughout the day, not just for hydration, but because a moist mouth is a healthier mouth. And don't skip the dentist, not just for cleanings, but because they can spot issues before you even feel them. If you wear dentures, make sure they fit well. Poorly fitting ones can irritate your gums and make eating uncomfortable, which affects nutrition and even your social confidence. I remember a man named Frank, who hadn't been to the dentist in over a decade. He said, "What's the point? I'm old, my teeth are shot anyway." But when he finally went, they didn't pull anything. Instead, they gave him a simple cleaning, fixed a small infection, and adjusted his dentures. He came out of that office smiling wider than he had in years, not because he had perfect teeth, but because he felt like himself again. He started eating better, laughing more, even talking differently, all from just taking his oral health seriously. Don't underestimate it. A clean mouth is about more than fresh breath. It's a signal to your body and your brain that you're taking care of yourself. And that message carries more power than you might think. Now let's talk about something that can quietly creep into your home and overwhelm your space before you even realize it: holding on to too much stuff. You might call it collecting, saving for later, or just being prepared. But over time, it can turn into piles of papers, old clothes that haven't been worn in years, broken appliances that haven't worked since the 90s, and boxes stacked in corners that haven't been opened since who knows when. And here's the thing. It's never really about the stuff. It's about what the stuff represents. A box of birthday cards? That's love. A drawer full of tools? That's usefulness. Those old clothes from when you were more active? That's a memory of who you used to be. These items hold emotion. They anchor you to times, people, and versions of yourself that meant something. Letting go of those things can feel like letting go of pieces of your identity. And after losing people, places or routines over the years, it can be hard not to cling to what's left. But here's where it gets tricky. As the piles grow, the piece shrinks. Your home starts to feel smaller, heavier. It becomes harder to clean, harder to find things, harder to breathe. And what started as comfort slowly turns into chaos, and sometimes even danger. Clutter increases the risk of falls, invites dust and allergens, and can weigh on your mental clarity more than you realize. That's where the memory box technique can help. Instead of keeping everything, choose a small special box. It can be a shoebox, a decorative bin, anything that feels meaningful. Use it to store the most important pieces, the letter that still makes you tear up, the photo that always makes you smile, the little keepsake that holds a story. Give those treasures a safe place, and let the rest go. You're not throwing away the memory, you're making space to breathe. And to keep things from piling up again, try what I call the weekly mini declutter. Pick one drawer, one corner, or one shelf every week. That's it. No need to do it all at once. Make it part of your routine, like Sunday afternoons, or right after your morning tea. Ask yourself, do I use this? Does it bring me joy, or am I holding on out of fear? You'll be amazed at how light and free you begin to feel, just from releasing a little at a time. There was a woman I met named Esther, who had an entire garage filled with old boxes after her husband passed away. For years she couldn't bring herself to open them. One day her granddaughter came over and said, "Grandma, let's find treasure." Together they picked one box. They laughed, cried, and ended up keeping just 3 items. The rest, donated, recycled, or let go. And that garage, it became Esther's reading nook, a space for new memories, not just the old ones. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing what truly matters, so you can live lighter, clearer, and more connected to the present. Because your home should be a place that supports your life, not one that traps it in yesterday. Let's talk about something that sneaks in slowly, often without you noticing, until one day, you catch your reflection in a window, and wonder, when did I start hunching like that? Walking with poor posture isn't just about how you look, it's about how you feel. A rounded back, forward-leaning neck, or shuffling gait doesn't just age your appearance, it actually affects your energy, your confidence, and most importantly, your safety. Over time, the body naturally begins to fold forward, the muscles weaken, especially around the core and upper back, and gravity starts to pull everything down. If you spend a lot of time sitting, watching TV, or even just reading in bed without support, those habits reinforce the slump, and it becomes a loop. The more you hunch, the more your muscles forget how to hold you upright. Eventually it feels normal, until you start noticing back pain, stiffness, or worse, balance issue. Because here's the truth, bad posture isn't just about discomfort, it increases your risk of falling. A hunched posture shifts your center of gravity forward, making it harder to catch yourself if you trip or misstep. And for seniors, falls aren't just accidents, they're a leading cause of hospital visits and long recoveries. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Improving posture isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. The first step is simply noticing it. When you stand up, take a second to check in with your body. Are your shoulders rounded forward? Is your chin jutting out? Are your knees slightly bent even when you're standing still? Try this gentle daily practice. Stand near a wall with your heels, hips, shoulder blades, and the back of your head touching it. It might feel strange at first, but this is what aligned feels like. Hold that position for 30 seconds. Breathe. Feel your spine stretch gently. Doing this just once a day can begin to retrain your muscles and wake up your posture memory. Add a bit of stretching too. Simple shoulder rolls, gentle neck tilts, and chest openers go a long way. If you're sitting a lot, make sure your back is supported and your feet are flat on the floor. Set a reminder to get up and stretch every hour, even just for a minute. Your body will thank you. I remember a man named Joseph, in his early 70s, who used to walk like he was carrying the weight of the world on his back. He'd gotten so used to hunching, he didn't even realize it, until his daughter showed him a photo from behind. That image shocked him, but it also motivated him. He started doing 5 minutes of posture exercises every morning. Nothing fancy, just small movements, and daily check-ins. Within a few weeks, people noticed a change. "You look taller," they said. But what really changed was how he felt. More awake, more stable, more present in his own body. You don't need expensive equipment, or a personal trainer. You just need to pay attention, and give your body a little love every day. Because how you carry yourself sends a message, not just to others, but to your own spirit. Stand tall, you've earned it. Now let's move from posture to something even closer to the ground, your feet, specifically, what you're putting on them. It might sound simple, but the shoes you wear can either protect you, or put you at serious risk. And yet, so many people over 60 continue to wear the wrong footwear, out of habit, convenience, or just not knowing any better. Maybe you've got a favorite pair of slippers that are easy to slip on and off, or you wear those old sneakers that have been molded to your feet over the years. They feel familiar, comfortable, even. But what many don't realize is that worn-out soles, slick bottoms, and unsupportive shoes are one of the biggest hidden causes of falls. And when you're older, a fall can change everything in an instant. Your balance isn't quite what it used to be. Your reaction time might be slower, and your bones, they're not as forgiving as they once were. So when you're walking in shoes that slide, wobble, or tilt your foot the wrong way, it's like setting a trap for your own feet. But here's the good news. Fixing this doesn't mean sacrificing comfort or style. You just need to know what to look for. First and most importantly, your shoes need to have non-slip soles, not the smooth flat kind that glide across tile like skates. Look for treads, patterns, a bit of grip. Your feet should feel like they're connecting with the ground, not sliding on it. Next, check the heel. A small firm heel is okay, think an inch or less, but completely flat shoes can be just as bad if they lack support. You want something that gives you a bit of structure, something that hugs your foot, especially around the heel and arch. Shoes that flop off, like backless slippers, or loose sandals, leave your ankles working overtime to keep you steady. Fit matters too. Shoes that are too tight can pinch and cause blisters, but shoes that are too loose can cause your foot to shift unexpectedly. If you haven't had your feet measured in years, it's worth doing. You'd be surprised how much your feet change over time. Look for pairs with adjustable straps, or laces that can accommodate any swelling throughout the day, and don't overlook the insoles. If you have trouble with foot pain, plantar fasciitis, or arch issues, a good pair of orthopedic insoles can make a world of difference. They don't have to be custom-made. There are plenty of great options you can buy off the shelf. The key is that your foot feels supported, not like it's floating or collapsing inward. I knew a woman named Helen, who kept wearing her soft house slippers around the apartment, even though she'd fallen twice. She didn't want to give them up, because they were easy to slide on. But after her second fall, her son bought her a pair of supportive slip-resistant shoes that looked just like her slippers, but with firm soles and proper grip. She resisted at first, but within a few days, she actually said, "I feel more secure walking now, like the floor isn't out to get me." The right shoes won't just keep you safer, they'll give you the confidence to move freely again. Whether it's walking through the grocery store, stepping out to check the mail, or dancing a little in the kitchen, supportive footwear means you're stepping into each moment with strength and stability, and every step matters. Sometimes, the shift is so subtle, you don't even notice it at first. Maybe you stop going to that weekly lunch, you don't return a call right away, a few days pass without hearing from anyone. Before long, the silence becomes routine, and that routine starts to feel normal. But deep down, something feels off, a little emptier than it used to. This quiet drift into isolation is one of the most common, yet least talked about, challenges of aging. And it doesn't always come from sadness or depression. Sometimes, it's just the natural result of changing schedules, retirement, health issues, or the loss of friends over time. But the truth is, loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a health risk. Studies show that isolation is as dangerous to your health as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. It weakens your immune system, raises your risk of heart disease, speeds up cognitive decline, and yes, it can even shorten your life. Human beings are wired for connection. It's how we stay mentally sharp, emotionally grounded, and physically active. But reconnecting doesn't mean you need to throw yourself into busy social events, or be surrounded by people all day. It starts with small intentional habits. Try setting up a calling calendar, just one person a day, for 10 minutes. Maybe it's a grandchild, an old friend, or someone you've lost touch with. Keep a little notebook by your phone. You'll be amazed how much a quick chat can lift your spirit, and theirs. If phone calls aren't your thing, explore local community groups. Many senior centers, libraries, or faith organizations have small gatherings, walking clubs, or game nights. Even if you're not a social butterfly, just being in a space with others can boost your mood more than you might expect. And don't underestimate the power of routine connections. That neighbor you wave to, ask about their garden. That woman from your fitness class, invite her for coffee. Start small. A little connection goes a long way. There was a gentleman named Walter who had lost most of his old social circle. He didn't see the point in reaching out anymore, he said. They've all moved on, or moved away. But his daughter set up a weekly video call between him and his cousin, across the country. At first it was awkward. They didn't know what to talk about, but soon it became a highlight of his week. They laughed, shared stories, even watched sports together, over the phone. Walter's energy came back, his voice had more life in it, and he said something one day I'll never forget. I didn't realize how much I missed being heard. Being alone doesn't have to mean feeling lonely. And staying connected doesn't require a crowd, it just takes consistency and heart. Don't wait for others to reach out first. Take that first step, because your presence matters more than you think, to others, and to your own well-being. It starts with little thoughts that creep in. Why didn't they call me back? Or that cashier gave me a strange look. Then it turns into locking the doors twice, avoiding neighbors, or worrying that everyone is out to trick you. Suddenly, trust feels like a risky thing. You find yourself questioning even the people who've been in your life for years. And maybe you've noticed it in others too. An old friend who's convinced their family is hiding things from them, or someone who thinks every news story is a personal warning. This growing sense of suspicion and paranoia isn't just frustrating, it can be frightening. And the truth is, it's more common than most people realize. As we age, changes in the brain, especially in areas tied to memory and emotion, can make us more sensitive to fear, more reactive to uncertainty, and more likely to misread other people's intentions. Add to that, the constant stream of fear-based stories online, and it becomes easy to slip into a mindset where danger feels like it's around every corner. But here's something important to know. Just because you feel suspicious, doesn't mean the world has become more dangerous. It often means your internal signals are getting scrambled, and the key is not to shame yourself or brush it off. It's to gently bring your thinking back to what's real and what's helpful. One simple practice is called grounding. When your mind starts spinning with what-ifs and worry, pause and name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This might sound silly, but it brings you back into the present moment, back to what's actually happening, not what your mind is imagining. Another game changer. A regular media detox. So much of what feeds our fear these days comes from screens, TV, online news, even messages passed around on social media. If you're constantly being told to watch out or stay alert, your body starts living in a state of anxiety. Try turning off the news for just 1 full day each week. Replace it with something nourishing, a walk, a puzzle, a phone call, even music. Notice how your mood shifts, and talk to someone you trust. Paranoia grows in silence, but when you say your fears out loud to a friend or a counselor, they lose their grip. Sometimes all it takes is someone saying, "That doesn't sound like you," or "Let's check the facts together," to break the spell of suspicion. There's a man I met named Earl, who refused to open his mail for weeks. He was convinced the government was watching him. His daughter finally sat down with him, walked him through each envelope, and helped him see there was nothing to be afraid of. At first he was embarrassed, but later he said, "I didn't realize how heavy that fear was until it left." That weight, it sneaks up on you, but you don't have to carry it alone. Your mind is still strong, and even when it gets a little cloudy or unsure, there are ways to clear the fog. You're not broken, you're adjusting, and you can retrain your mind to feel safe, curious, and open again. At some point, the plate just starts to look the same every day. A bit of toast in the morning, maybe a sandwich at lunch, something easy like soup or pasta for dinner. Simple, yes, but over time, it becomes so routine, you hardly taste it anymore. And while convenience has its place, this kind of bland, repetitive eating silently robs the body and the brain of the nourishment it needs to stay sharp, strong, and energized. It's easy to fall into the trap. Taste buds dull with age, appetite can decrease, and sometimes cooking just feels like too much work. If you live alone, the motivation can slip even more. Why go through the effort for just one person? But here's what most people don't realize. Eating the same few foods over and over again can lead to serious health issues, especially for seniors. We're talking about weakened immunity, muscle loss, bone thinning, and even memory decline. Your brain needs variety just as much as your body does. That doesn't mean you need to become a gourmet chef overnight. It means learning to see food as medicine, and as joy. Adding color to your plate isn't just about presentation, it's about power. Bright fruits, like blueberries and oranges, leafy greens like spinach and kale, even nuts and seeds, all of them carry compounds that help protect your brain and reduce inflammation. And spices, they're not just flavor boosters. Turmeric, cinnamon, garlic, these can all support memory circulation and digestion. Try thinking in simple swaps. Instead of white bread, reach for whole grain. Instead of skipping vegetables, toss a handful of frozen peas into your pasta or soup.
Keep pre-cut veggies in the fridge to throw into omelets or stir-fries. And don't underestimate smoothies. They're a great way to sneak in spinach, berries, yogurt, and even a little flaxseed, all in one quick blend.
I once knew a woman named Lorraine who used to eat the same 3 meals every day. After a visit to her doctor revealed she was iron deficient and borderline malnourished, her granddaughter started cooking with her once a week. They called it their adventure meal. Sometimes it was a colorful Thai curry. Other times a grain bowl loaded with avocado and roasted vegetables. Not only did her energy return, but so did her joy. She said, "I forgot food could actually make me feel happy again." If cooking feels like a chore, try batch prepping once a week or inviting someone over to do it with you. Make it social. Turn on music. Light a candle. Eat at the table, not in front of the TV. All of these small choices add up, not just to a healthier diet, but to a fuller life. Your body still listens to what you feed it, so feed it well, not just for health but for flavor, fun, and the spark it brings back to your days. You might not think much of it at first. Dozing off in the recliner during the afternoon, staying up too late watching TV, or waking up at 3 a.m. and not being able to fall back asleep. But over time, those small changes add up. And before you know it, your sleep feels like a mystery. You either can't get enough, or you're getting too much, and no matter what, you still wake up feeling tired. It's frustrating, isn't it? Especially when people say, "You're retired now, you can sleep whenever you want." But it doesn't work like that. As we age, our internal clocks, those natural rhythms that tell us when to wake up and when to wind down, start to shift. Hormones like melatonin decrease, light sensitivity changes, and all of this affects how easily we fall asleep and how deeply we rest. It's not just about feeling groggy the next day. Chronic sleep issues are directly tied to memory problems, increased risk of falls, mood swings, and even dementia. But here's the hopeful part. Good sleep isn't out of reach. You don't have to rely on sleeping pills or just accept that tossing and turning is your new normal. It starts with resetting your rhythm. One of the most effective things you can do is get light, natural light, first thing in the morning. Just 10-15 minutes of sunlight on your face tells your body, it's daytime, let's get moving. That simple act can help your internal clock find its rhythm again, making it easier to fall asleep at night. Evening routines matter just as much. We often carry the day with us into the night. Worries, screens, bright lights, loud news, and then we wonder why we can't shut off. Try setting a wind-down ritual that tells your body it's time to rest. Dim the lights an hour before bed. Sip a warm drink, maybe chamomile tea. Turn off the TV and replace it with soft music or a calming book. Even a few deep breaths before sleep can help slow your heart rate and ease your mind. And it's okay if you wake up in the middle of the night. Don't panic. Instead of staring at the ceiling, try a quiet activity, read, listen to gentle music, or do a simple breathing exercise. Avoid checking the clock or your phone. Remind yourself that rest still counts, even if sleep is interrupted. There was a gentleman named Carl who used to nap several times a day and then wondered why he couldn't sleep at night. His doctor suggested he keep a sleep journal, just jotting down when he slept, how he felt, and what he did before bed. Within weeks, he noticed patterns. He cut back on naps, started walking outside each morning, and swapped his evening news habit for a quiet card game with his wife. He said, "I started dreaming again. I hadn't dreamed in years." Your sleep isn't broken, it just needs a little care, a little structure, and a little grace. Because real rest is not just about closing your eyes, it's about creating the kind of peace that helps you drift off and wake up feeling ready to greet the day. You catch yourself snapping at the smallest things, a spilled drink, a phone that rings too long, someone forgetting to call back. Maybe you even surprise yourself with how quickly your patience runs thin, and after it happens, you sit with it and think, that's not like me. When did I become so touchy? It's more common than people admit. As we get older, our emotional resilience can feel like it wears down a bit. Things that used to roll off your back suddenly feel heavier. And it's not always just about attitude. Sometimes, there's something deeper going on. Low energy, poor sleep, hormone changes, or even a deficiency in something as basic as B vitamins. These nutrients help regulate mood and energy, and when they're low, it can feel like your emotional fuse is shorter than it used to be. But aging doesn't have to mean becoming grumpy or constantly frustrated. That negativity isn't really you, it's a signal, a gentle nudge from your body or your spirit saying, something's out of balance. So how do we begin to soften those sharp edges? First, give yourself permission to feel what you're feeling without guilt. It's okay to be overwhelmed. It's okay to be tired. But don't stay stuck there. One of the simplest ways to start shifting your mindset is with something as old-fashioned as journaling. Just 5 minutes a day to let your thoughts spill out onto paper, not to fix anything, but to make space. When you name what's bothering you, it loses its grip. Breathwork can help too. Deep breathing isn't just for yoga classes, it's a built-in reset button. A few slow inhales through the nose, holding for a count, and then exhaling gently. It can calm your nervous system and help your brain recenter. And don't forget to talk to your doctor. A quick check of your B12, folate and iron levels could reveal something very fixable. Sometimes, that moodiness isn't emotional at all, it's nutritional. One simple supplement or dietary tweak might bring your energy and outlook back to life. I remember a man named Thomas, who always seemed agitated. He was a kind soul, but lately, everything seemed to irritate him. His daughter finally convinced him to get checked out, and sure enough, his B12 levels were low. Within a month of treatment and a few lifestyle changes, his wife said it felt like she had her old partner back, the one who used to hum while making coffee in the morning. So if you've noticed yourself becoming a little more negative or irritable than you used to be, take a breath. That's not the whole of who you are. It's just a sign that your body or your spirit needs a little attention. And the good news is, those small changes can bring back more peace than you might imagine. You've probably heard it, or maybe even said it yourself. It's too late for me. Too late to get strong again. Too late to make new friends. Too late to travel, learn something new, fall in love, or find purpose. Those 4 little words can feel harmless at first, but over time, they settle into the mind like cement. And once they're in there, they start building walls around your potential. Here's the hard truth. That mindset does more damage than most people realize. When you start believing it's too late, your body listens, your brain listens. You stop reaching, stop exploring, stop challenging yourself. And that mental resignation, it's one of the quietest accelerators of decline there is. Because if you stop trying, life begins to shrink. Not all at once, but slowly, like a room that gets smaller each day until you're barely moving inside it. But let me tell you something powerful. It's never too late to grow. The human spirit doesn't have an expiration date. The brain is capable of learning at any age. Muscles respond to movement at any age. Friendships, adventures, goals, laughter. None of these things check your birth certificate before showing up in your life. What changes everything is your belief in possibility. One beautiful way to fight back against the "it's too late" lie is to start a simple habit I call the One New Thing Challenge. Every week you try one thing you've never done before. It doesn't have to be big or dramatic, just something unfamiliar. It could be trying a new recipe, visiting a nearby park, listening to a podcast on a topic you've never explored, painting, dancing, writing a poem, volunteering, learning to use a smartphone app. One new thing, once a week. What that does is spark curiosity, and curiosity is the antidote to resignation. It keeps your mind alert, and your heart open. It brings joy, even in small doses. It reminds you that you're still evolving, still capable, still wonderfully alive. I once knew a woman named Lillian. She was 82 when she learned to swim. For years she watched her grandchildren play in the water from the edge of the pool. One day, she decided she was tired of watching. She hired a swim coach, and started with float lessons. Within a few weeks, she was gliding across the water, smiling like a child. When I asked her why she finally did it, she said, "Because I wanted to prove to myself I wasn't done yet. And neither are you. Your story isn't finished, not even close. As long as you have breath in your lungs, and a spark of wonder in your spirit, there is always another page to turn. Always another new thing, waiting just outside your comfort zone." So the next time you hear that voice whisper, "It's too late,"
smile gently, and try something new anyway. We've covered a lot today. 12 habits that quietly creep in as we age, often unnoticed, but with real consequences, if left unchecked. Let's take a moment to walk back through them, not to shame or criticize, but to shine a light on what's possible when we choose awareness and action. First, we talked about ignoring personal hygiene. It's not laziness, it's often exhaustion or sadness. But even a simple morning routine and a little structure can help you feel like yourself again. Then we touched on talking only about illness. It's a way to connect, yes, but there's so much more to share. Try balancing those conversations with gratitude or light-hearted memories. Next came letting oral health slide. Gum disease doesn't just affect your mouth, it's connected to your heart and brain. Floss, hydrate, and make that dental checkup. Then there's hoarding or collecting junk. That clutter holds emotion and memories, but you can honor those moments with a memory box and gently release the rest. Walking with poor posture isn't just about looks, it affects your energy, your balance, and even your mood. Stretch, stand tall, and check in with your body throughout the day. We also covered unsafe footwear. Shoes matter more than ever now. Supportive non-slip soles can literally save your life from a fall. Your comfort and safety go hand in hand. Then came isolation. Loneliness isn't just sad, it's dangerous. Reconnect, make one call, send one card, join one group. Connection is healing. We looked at becoming overly suspicious. When trust erodes, life gets smaller. Reduce media overload, ground yourself, and remember not everyone is out to get you. Eating the same bland diet that robs your body of the color and nutrients it needs. Add some spices, fresh herbs, a new vegetable. Your brain and bones will thank you. Oversleeping or sleeping too little drains your sharpness. A calming nighttime routine and morning light exposure can reset your internal rhythm. Getting easily irritated doesn't mean you're mean, it might mean you're running on empty. Breathe, journal, and check in on your nutrition and emotional load. And finally, saying it's too late. That's the heaviest lie of all. Every day you wake up is another chance to try one new thing. Small steps lead to big shifts. Each one of these habits, no matter how ingrained, is changeable. And changing even one of them, that's how transformation begins. Yes, aging brings change, sometimes in ways that surprise you, slow you down, or even make you question who you're becoming. But change doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean refinement, it can mean wisdom, and most importantly, it can mean choice. You still have the power to shape how this chapter of your life feels, how full it is, how meaningful, how bright. You are not your bad habits. You are not defined by aches, or forgetfulness, or the little slips that come with age. You are still learning, still growing, still deeply needed in this world. And with a little awareness, a few gentle shifts, and the courage to look honestly at where things have slipped, you can create something beautiful from right where you are. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just pick one area, one small act of self-care, one better meal, one phone call, one walk in the sun. Let that be the seed. Because once you start, your momentum grows. And with that momentum comes clarity, energy, and even joy. So take heart, be kind to yourself. You've made it this far through so much. And the road ahead, while different, can still be vibrant and rich. You are still the author of your days, and the best parts might still be waiting to be written. If any of these habits struck a chord with you, if you saw even a small piece of yourself in these stories, you are absolutely not alone. These are quiet struggles that so many people face behind closed doors, often without even realizing it. But now that you see them, now that you know what to look out for, you've already taken a powerful step forward. And this journey, it doesn't stop here. We've got more videos coming your way. Real talk about staying sharp, staying mobile, keeping your independence, and holding on to that spark of joy and confidence, well into your 80s and 90s. We'll be diving into simple brain-boosting routines, mobility secrets, emotional strength tips, and more things no one ever tells you about aging, but you deserve to know. So if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button, so more people like you can find this too. And if you know a friend, a parent, a neighbor who might need this kind of encouragement, send it to them. Let's build a community where we lift each other up. where aging isn't something to fear, but something to do with strength, grace, and a whole lot of courage. Drop a comment below, and let me know which part spoke to you the most. What's one thing you're going to start changing today? Let's keep this conversation going, because your voice matters. Together we're aging smart, we're aging strong, and we're helping others do the same.